Hey, sixth graders, this is Skill Builder number 1. And like I told you in class, most of the time when we do these skill builders, you'll be working out of the Smart Strings lesson book. The school district purchased a downloadable copy of Smart Strings for each of you, and you can find that in the Google Classroom. I have the PDF of the entire lesson book up there by instrument for you to download. However, each week I will also give you hard copies of the music I'm expecting you to learn. But just know that that whole book is there. There's a lot of great stuff. We're starting in the middle of the book. It's a book that would normally take us 2 years to get through. So if you want to go back and look at the beginning of the book as a review, you are welcome to do that. And there's a lot of cool activities and other things in there. So it's a great book, and it would be a cool thing to do if you're looking for something extra to work on. But right now you should have Azuca out in front of you. This is what I handed out in class. I do have some additional copies if you lost yours, or it's page 83 if you want to open up that PDF from the Google Classroom. Just like in class, we are going to start with things a little bit simpler and work our way into some harder things. So there's a lot of review in here, and just do your best to learn this. If it's easy for you, that's okay. You might not have to practice as much as a normal week. But as we work through these skill builders, they will get harder, and we'll learn some more advanced things. One other thing about this, in class we've been working on playing things with different parts. So sometimes the violins and the cellos do something different, and you have to learn how to fit those two parts together. For this, everyone has the same part. So when I'm talking about playing and notes, it applies to everyone. The one small difference is that the A string for bass is lower than the D string, so it's going to sound a little bit different, but it is basically the same thing, okay? So we're going to get rolling with Azuca. Now, you might be looking through this and see that there are a lot of different types of rests, and that's something that we're going to review today and that I'm going to expect you to know when you come back to class next day 1. So your job is to watch this video, practice this, make sure you know it, and the next day 1 we have at school, we will go over this together. And I might ask you about these different type of rests and what they're called and how many beats they get of rest. And so we're going to go over that right now. So first of all, we have a quarter rest. Just like a quarter note, a quarter rest has 1 beat of rest. You don't play for 1 beat. Okay. Then we have a half rest. And again, you notice these names match up with the note names. A half rest, just like a half note, is 2 beats of rest. Now, these two, half rest and whole rest, are kind of difficult to tell the difference between. They look really similar. But one trick that a lot of people use is that a half rest, you can see it's a box on top of the line. It sort of looks like a top hat. And hat and half sound very similar. And so if you can make that connection of hat note, half note, or rest, sorry, a half rest is like a half note, which is a 2-beat note or a 2-beat rest. Okay, so that's probably the best way to remember that, unless you want to just straight up memorize it. But this is the half rest. Then we have a whole rest. Again, like a whole note is 4 beats of playing. A whole rest is 4 beats of resting. You would rest for an entire measure, count to 4 if you have a whole rest. You can see, let's see, at least twice, exactly twice in this, you rest for an entire measure. And last but not least, and this is a big one, you see this a lot in orchestra music, the multi-measure rest. This means that they want you to rest for more than 1 measure, but they don't want to write out a million measures, empty measures. And so they will draw this bar and write the number of measures they want you to rest. In this case, it's 4. Now, it can get very easy to get lost and not be sure how long you've been resting. So there is a trick we use to count these multi-measure rests. You always start, you count to 4 for as many times as they are asking you to count to 4, but you always start with the number of measure you're on. Let me show you. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. And you can imagine if you were being asked to rest for 12 measures, that would come in handy quite a bit. And so it's a good habit to get into, to be counting your multi-measure rests like that. So we are going to start at the very beginning. We have a 4-measure rest. We're not going to worry about that right now. If we are playing this with the recording that it comes with, that's the introduction where we would wait to come in. But let's take a look at measures 5 and 6. You should be able to read these notes with me. Go ahead at home and read them out loud with me. F sharp, A, D, 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 D. Hopefully that seems easy for most of you. These are notes we have been working on in class. Go ahead and find your F sharp. Think about how many fingers F sharp is for your instrument. And we're going to play this together. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, if you're a violin, viola, or cello, that is just the F sharp and the rest of it is open strings. Again, a little bit different for bass, but this should be relatively simple for most of us. Let's try it again. Get that F sharp down. Okay, 1, 2, here we go. Awesome, so that was measures 5 and 6. Let's look at 7 and 8. They should look very, very similar to you. Let's read these notes. F sharp, A, E, 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 E. So the difference is it's an E instead of a D. Every single one of us, every instrument in the orchestra plays E the same way. It's first finger on the D string. Let's play that measures 7 and 8 together. Set down those fingers for F sharp. Ready? Here we go. E. Okay, let's do 5, 6, 7, and 8 together. We should know all these notes. We should know all these rhythms. Let's see if we can do it. 1, 2, measure 5, here we go. D. Back to F sharp. Now E. Awesome. And if you can't do it perfectly right now, there's no need to be upset about it. This is something you can pause the video or come back to later to work on. Again, in class and the music that we're doing, we are using these notes all the time. So if you're unsure about reading them, I think as we work through things over the next couple of weeks, you will start to feel better about reading these notes. Take a look at measures 9 through 13. Those should look the same as what we just played. So 9, 10, 11, and 12 are the same as 5, 6, 7, and 8. So let's do this right now. We're going to start together at measure 5, and we're going to end when we get to 13. So we're just repeating something we've already learned. Okay. Set those fingers down for F sharp. 1, 2, here we go. Excellent. All right, now 13 is different. There's something different happening in measure 13. We play the note D. Hopefully everyone is able to recognize your open strings at this point. There is one quarter note D. And then we have 2 rest symbols. We have this, the quarter rest, that's 1 beat. And then we also have this, the half rest, that's 2 beats. 1 plus 2 is 3. So we're going to play D and rest, rest, rest. We're resting for 3 beats. Next measure, D, rest, rest, rest. Then D, rest, D, rest, D, D, E, E. So those 4 measures, 13 through 16, we play mostly Ds. There are 2 E's at the end, 1 finger on the D string, but there's some rest in there that we have to be watching out for. Let's try it together. Here's 13. Ready? Here we go. Rest, rest, rest. Rest, 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 rest. Okay, and notice how when we were playing that, I was ready to put my first finger down for E. I didn't have my hand off to the side or behind my back or up here or doing something that I shouldn't be doing. I had my finger ready to roll so I could just put it down when it was time to play E. Okay? We're doing great. We're over halfway there, and a lot of this that we're going to finish up with is very repetitive stuff we have played before. 17, measure 17, we have two F sharps. Thinking about, again, how to play F sharp on your instrument, a note that we have been working on in class. And then you have this symbol, so 2 beats of rest in that measure. And then the next measure has a whole rest. So 2 plus 4 is 6. You would rest for a total of 6 beats. And then you play 2 more F sharps and rest for a total of 6 beats. This should be pretty easy. We're going to start at measure 17. Set your fingers down for F sharp. 1, 2, here we go. Rest, 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 rest. Awesome. We made it to measure 21. 21 should look to you exactly like measure 5. Hopefully you're seeing that, recognizing these patterns in music. It's very common in a piece of music to have something that comes back that you play over and over again. And so if you can identify that, it means that you don't have to relearn things you already know. It actually makes things easier for you. So 21 through 25, or the end of 24, we have played that already. So I'm going to jump ahead. We're going to start at measure 25. Now initially this looks similar. It starts off the same way. F, F, A, D, 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 D. Rest. Then it is different. D, D, F sharp, E, 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 rest. And the very last note of this is a whole note, a 4-beat note, F sharp. So let me play for you from 25 to the end. You can play along with me, or since there's some new stuff, if you'd like to listen first, you can do that as well. So here I go with 25. And my fingers down for F sharp. 1, 2, here I go. Awesome. All right. Hopefully this all makes sense. Hopefully we're starting to get these notes, understanding how to read them. You probably noticed that the notes are color-coded. That is something to kind of help you out with this, but that will not last for long. But hopefully it gave you a little bit of help if you needed it, getting back into reading notes. I'm going to play from measure 5. I'm going to skip that multi-measure rest at the beginning, just because it's silly to sit here for 4 measures. But we're going to start at 5. I'll play all the way to the end. See if you can play at least some of it with me. If you get a little lost in the middle, that's okay. That's something you can work on this week. So here we go. Here's measure 5 all the way through. F sharp is down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here comes 21 now. So that's Azuca all the way through. Work really hard on this week, and next day 1 in class, we will start to work on this together. And again, let me know if you have any questions as you're working on it.